Hello.
Hello.
It is Thirsty Thursday with the Bell.
The bell is back. The bell is back. Woo!
We are back. We are back. It's
Yes.
been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but we are back.
We're back.
You know, we're excited to be back.
Yes, we are.
You know, it's a blessing that there are so many people who watch this video.
Yes.
That even though we have not recorded any new episodes lately, webisodes, people still are being blessed, and it's just a blessing.
It really is a
To
blessing.
hear the testimonies of people who are still watching Thursday and what the Lord gives us when we just simply share with you.
And we just want to say thank you. I know it encourages me when people inbox me or or Facebook me, just whatever it is, email me just to say how much of a blessing I was to them, God using me. So I just thank you guys for encouraging us even the more. So thank you so much.
And subscribe to us on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and subscribe to Thirsty Thursday with the Bells. Follow us on Facebook. I'm actually on Twitter. Mrs. Bell is not there. I'm gonna try to get her there. I'm gonna see. I ain't gonna push it, but Twitter, you can follow me at L Bell Jr. I think it's L Bell Jr.
It is.
At Twitter, so you can follow me at Twitter. I'm also on Instagram. That is something totally new for me. So I'm on Instagram. I think it's L Bell Jr. 23 is my Instagram handle.
Yes, and I'm more of the Facebook. I'm good.
So it's just a blessing. So we wanted to say this episodes begin by saying thank you.
Thank you.
Share with your friends, with your family, your followers on Facebook, Twitter, all those. Share it, man. It's a blessing. We just really sharing with you what God has given us.
Yes.
So, with that being said, let's get right into today's webisode. September is Marriage Covenant Month. I want to thank Brother Lorenzo Martin for making that so known, not just with me and a couple of my other friends, but on Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you're friends with Lorenzo Martin, he has been Facebooking. September is Marriage Covenant Month.
All right, marriage.
So we want to just dedicate this webisode and maybe even however the Lord leads the next couple of months in September to just marriages. Yes. Marriage is an awesome blessing. Marriage is a blessing from God. Before He began the church, before He began anything, He began with husband and wife and family. And I think that is so very important that we begin to really just honor and cherish marriage. And not just the union of marriage, but cherish your spouse. You know what I'm saying? She had that stuff on her lips. I would have kissed on her lips.
Do the lips.
Only because,
it's matte, it's really nice, really thick. It just galls him up a little bit too much.
I be blinging, and I don't really want to bling at Bible study tonight because it doesn't come up too easily. So, but we got to understand it.
We have an understanding.
Anywho.
Can I have another one? Thanks.
Cherish your spouse. I think it's a beautiful thing that I actually enjoy my wife. We committed to the commitment before getting married, before even after we got engaged. We sat down and had a talk that divorce is never an option. I think for so many marriages, divorce is always an option. We're gonna try this out, and if it doesn't work, we always go our separate ways. Not so.
And even for us, even going a little bit deeper than that, we don't even use the word. So this is actually the first time we've used the actual word.
And we bind that right now in the name of Jesus. That He can't even say.
Even use
because
the word
the D word
in this house. So we use the D word.
The D word.
Yes. So
if the D word is not an option, I think so many times people get into marriage with that being an option. If it doesn't work, we can always do this. And it's never been an option. Although we have had some good intense fellowships.
Because we don't want anybody to think that it's all perfect.
No.
We've had some intense fellowships. But we've gotten past them.
I think God that we actually and for me, and I'm going to declare it, that our worst years are behind us.
Yes.
I just declare that our worst years are behind us. We got together. If you're on Facebook and you a part of our marriage group on Facebook, Why I Love Being Married, you see I kind of posted a brief synopsis of our love story. God did a quick work with us. From less than 6 months from meeting her, we were married.
Yes.
One date. And it was God. And we went into marriage knowing that it's not an option. The D word is not an option. We're going to tough it out. We're going to work it out. We're going to stay together.
That's right.
By any means necessary.
That's right. And people tend to think that there are certain marriages that are fake because it seems so perfect. And that's really not what it is. We even had a friend to even ask us, to say, you guys fight? I can't even picture you guys having an argument or having an intense fellowship. But we had to let her know, yes, we do have arguments and disagreements just like any other couple has arguments and disagreements. But what we learned early is how to get past them and how to fight fairly.
Yes. Have fair disputes.
Have fair disputes. Maybe go in another room and come back and discuss something a little bit later.
Yeah.
And we are new. We are newly married, but God has given us the wisdom in that area. Speedily, quickly.
Because like you said, our first years of marriage were treacherous. It was rough. I mean, we would get in arguments when we first got married and would not talk for 3-4 days.
Was it that long?
Yeah, we would go. It would be so long that we would actually forget. I would anyway. Forget why we're not speaking.
I think it was. In his mind, it was 3 or 4 days because he was still upset. I get over things fairly easily, quickly. So.
I mean, right now we both do. I don't think if you have a disagreement, it may last. If it lasts 15 minutes, it's gone too long.
Yeah.
If you really have learned, we've learned, and that's it. If you're in a marriage right now and you say I'm tired, I want to give up, learn your spouse.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. I can tell you what works for us. It works for us. Every marriage is different.
That's right.
No fingerprints are the same. Everyone has different fingerprints. No marriage is the same.
That's right.
You can try different techniques, but you must learn your spouse.
That's right.
Find out, those things that irks her, and that irks him. So if you're in that marriage and you're saying, you're thinking about contemplating the D word, contemplating separating, or rethink it. Seek guidance. Seek God. Seek some spiritual guidance from your leaders, from other saved, married people, not your single friends. It's nothing worse than a married person getting advice from a single person that's either divorced or not even dating nobody.
Yes.
That is the worst person to go to for marital advice. I really encourage you speaking to your leaders, your spiritual leaders. If you're a part of a local assembly, talk to your pastor and your first lady. And in these days, it's not uncommon for the pastor to be single. And if that's the case, you need to find some saved, married people who you can trust and confide in. So I encourage you, don't make marriage.
And it's not to say that, and I want to make sure because it's not to say that single people don't have wisdom in this area. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is a lot of times you will have those single friends who some of them can be bitter. Some can be bitter. Some you just don't know what's in their hearts for sure. So that's why it's just safer to seek out married counsel where you'll have both sides represented. If that makes sense. Did that come out correct?
It came out.
Okay. It did. But one of the things we want to talk about that does work for us is our honesty with each other and our openness. One of our favorite scriptures is Genesis 2:24.
24 through 26, somewhere in there. That talks about the man and the wife both being naked and unashamed. And we look at that in the natural sense as, back in the Garden of Eden, they were both just standing there naked, with no clothes on, fully exposed.
You know what? Let's turn to it. Let's turn to it.
Let's turn to it.
Let's read it. Let's read it out there. It's a passage that most know, but just in case, we want to make sure we read it.
Yep. Genesis 2, verses 24 through 25. Therefore shall a man leave his mother and his father, and cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked and unashamed, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Yeah. When you're naked before your spouse, or you're not before anyone, you're completely exposed. Your insecurities are out there. Any imperfections you may have are being exposed. You're at a very vulnerable state when you can get naked and unashamed in the natural. And one thing we try to be in our marriage is naked and unashamed, even in every area of our life. Being able to actually make my wife my best friend.
Yes.
And I be her best friend. It took some getting used to for me at first, I'm being honest with you, and sometimes I still struggle with it, but I'm getting better.
Which is normal, because I mean, it's a little different for me.
Yeah, and I talked to some of my married friends about this, about, you know, being your wife's best friend and her being your best friend, and all of them, not a lot, but some of them say that it's just not safe for me that way. Whereas she may listen now, but then when we get in an argument, it makes something that I said in a vulnerable state comes back, thrown back at me. And women, don't do that.
Yes.
If your husband cannot feel safe with you to share his secrets with, who can he be safe with?
That's right.
Because guess what? If you don't allow him to tell you his secrets and be vulnerable and exposed to you, he will find someone else to share it with.
Yes.
And you don't want that, because it makes him vulnerable and open. You know, and he the more you're talking, the more open you become to the spouse, the better the more connected you become emotionally. So if he can't be emotionally open and vulnerable with you, and he finds someone else to be that person that he can be open and, you know, express his secrets and feel safe, then he's gonna develop an emotional tie to that person, and that will always be that person. So wives, make your husband feel safe to share with you.
And it's the same thing concerning wives as well, because as women, we like to voice a lot of things. Most of us like to voice it and get it out. But then if we have a husband who's hard, you know, stiffness or toughness about him, then it works both ways. If she feels like she can't talk to him or express, or if she feels like she's not heard, her voice isn't being heard, then she'll find someone else, whether it be a friend to start voicing it to, or another male to voice it to, just whoever. Well, it's the same thing. So
I'll tell you what, then we're gonna keep this right here with being naked and unashamed. But in order to get naked and unashamed, you must first work on communication.
Communication, that's right.
And making your spouse feel safe enough to get naked and unashamed with you.
And to our single people, I know we're talking about marriage, but this is something you need to soak in, because when I was single, I did not feel single. And I always wanted to learn all this new married material. I was like, well, I need to know the next phase about being married and what is. So soak this stuff up, because it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So we're gonna kind of end on that note, that work on being naked and unashamed. And in your drive or your effort to be naked and unashamed, work on communication. And ask yourself the question: does my spouse feel safe talking to me? Can he tell me his secret? Or can she tell me her secret and it not come up in an argument? I don't throw it up in her face and use it against her. Now, my wife and I, we're very comical and we get along very well. So we do kind of pick at each other, but it's not things that are sensitive matters to me or sensitive matters to her. It's things that we both can laugh and joke about. And this is just between the two of us. It's not, we don't get in front of our friends joking and janking about things we've talked about in private. It's between the two of us, and that's pillow talk, if you want to call it that. We have those intimate conversations. So work on being naked and unashamed, and making your spouse feel safe to really be open and honest with you, to be naked with you with the lights on, naked with you with the lights on.
So we're not gonna turn off the lights like Teddy Pendergrass. Turn off the lights.
No. We can turn off the lights later.
but
keep them on for right now.
Yes.
Keep them on for right now.
Yes.
All right. You have anything you want to add?
No.
I do. You know what?
You
know what? We can't say that God has surrounded us with some awesome married people.
Yes.
Some awesome people we can really look up to and know that every marriage is not perfect.
That's right.
But like I said about Tomika and I, we're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other. We're perfect together. So he has really blessed us to be with around some awesome married couples, seasoned married couples.
Even before we were married, which is why that good counsel is so important before marriage. Even before we were married, we had great people around us who really, really, really poured.
And what I love about is that when we got married, God kind of transitioned our friends that we had from single friends to now we got a lot of married friends. And this is like so cool. Like I don't even remember how the transition happened, but it's like I got married and then the next day I had a bunch of married friends. So God does that. So and I see have a few single friends that we praying that their wives come on in and they gonna get married.
Praying that their husbands come on in, you know.
Amen. Their husband, their wives come on in, and we believe that marriage is just a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Between two people, but it requires work. It requires commitment.
Yes, it does.
You have to hang in there. Hang in there.
So right now we just we bind the spirit of quitting and this discouragement.
That's right.
So for those of you who feel like you are at your end with your marriage and you want to quit, we bind that spirit now. And we decree and declare God's will for your marriage, for your life is done. In the name of Jesus.
And that God gives you a fresh wind. Yes. It's a fresh wind for your marriage. That He begins to renew your mind, to have a new love for your wife. Begin to see your wife differently. I remember when I first got married, I would look at other husbands and I would say, and I said this before in a video, that it's something that I was missing from my wife, that I don't have that something. You know, like that something that was just kind of wasn't there yet. But I knew I loved her. I knew I was doing anything for her, but it was just like I felt like something inside of me was missing. And it was going through those hard times that brought us closer together and getting naked and unashamed when I got that something. Yes. So I just decree and declare that God will begin to renew your mind, give you a new set of eyes for your spouse. You begin to look at them differently. You begin to see them as being the bread on your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. The strawberry on the cherry on your sundae.
The glaze on your Krispy Kreme.
The sugar in your Kool-Aid.
Yes. The butterscotch on your butterscotch dip cone from Dairy Queen.
Yes, we just pray that God revive marriages.
Yes.
That He revived marriages, He revived people, He would just restore marriages.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing when you're married. When the two truly become one. It takes work to become one.
It takes work, yes it does.
If you ever made a cake, that cake don't just happen. You got to put this up in the thing, you have to beat it, whip it. It takes work to make it one.
If you ever played with Play-Doh as a child, and I know anyone my age and up has, if you've ever played with Play-Doh and you tried to mix that red and that blue together to make that purple, that takes a lot of kneading and a lot of pressing and a lot of mushing and a lot of and pounding, and then you'll look at it and you'll still see a little red over here, you'll still see a little blue, but you see a little purple in the middle. And you keep going, you keep pressing because you want that purple because you're trying to make something. So you keep going and you keep pressing. That's marriage. You keep going and you keep pressing and you keep going and you keep pressing. And then you think you have all purple and you cut the Play-Doh in half and you still see red and blue. So you got to press some more and keep pressing. That's marriage. That's marriage.
That's good, but
that's marriage. That's marriage. That's God. All God. That's marriage.
So, we just believe in that God restore marriages. Don't give up.
Yes.
Don't give up.
Yes.
Hang in there.
Yes.
It's worth it.
It is.
And I remember early in marriage calling my married friend and saying, I'm tired. I want to do this. Just kind of venting. Married folks I was venting to. They would always say, hang in there, Doc. Hang in there. It's going to get better. And I would always say, if it's going to take 9 years, 13 years, 37 years, I can get out now and save myself a whole lot of trouble. But I did not. I committed to the commitment that I made to her and I made to God.
Yes.
So, commit, stay the course, get naked and unashamed, communicate. All right? Until next week, we love you.
Yes.
God bless you.
Yes.